This is actually a guitar lesson on how to solo specifically over that outro of Jumpstart, wonderful song of Greg Howe. That's about as niche as you can go. It's not a flashy YouTube video with a lot of dopamine hits. No. This is a real guitar lesson, but I promise you, if you spend the next 26 minutes, you learn a lot of really cool lines, a solo, and really some theory on how to specifically tackle that progression and improvise over it. If you're new to fusion guitar in general, guys, grab my free arpeggio guide, description below. I'm Tommy from Inspection Academy, and I'm helping rock, metal, blues players to get into the wonderful world of fusion guitar. Now let's get into the lesson. Right, so that's solo, guys. So let me explain. So first of all, let's talk about the chord progression. And the chord progression you hear me play over is actually a half step higher than the same chord progression which is also happening earlier in the song, right? So it's the same, it's only modulated with one step. The reason why I'm telling this, I'm gonna play that for you guys, and you will hear that difference, right? Because it's easier to play the progression to... I'll show you. One half step down because I can use open strings, right? And I like that sound. So you'll see me explain, or I'll have this stepped out in lick. I call this lick number 8, and it's just really nice. But remember, this is a half step down from the actual outro solo itself. But it helped me. It's cool to enjoy, and it doesn't matter it doesn't hurt my explanations. First of all, so this is the... Right, so... Right, it's that section, right? So, what are those chords, right? So, now, I'm jumping now to one half step higher. First of all, but you could see those. So it sounds nice, right? So let me now play that same thing you just heard in really common voicings, right? It's actually the same, but sounds much nicer now. But again, it's nothing but D flat minor, B major, A major, A flat 7. That actually for the real outro solo, the ending of the song, Greg modulates it a half step higher, so it's higher. So we get if you look, the $1 million question is always, guys, what scales can I use, right? So, first of all, figure out the home chord, right? I always say, what's the home chord? And I always tell people, you know what, it's actually the chord on which you think the song would best end, right? Right, it's that chord, and it's a D minor chord. This is a technique that I used for 25 years basically to figure out which is the main scale I can use. So, and if you're lucky, it's a minor chord, right? We like minor chords as rock and blues players, right? Because we can use the minor pentatonic, right? ask ourselves which notes can we add to come up with one of the modes of the major scale. In this case, we have two options basically. We have Aeolian and Dorian. Of course, there is a Phrygian and there's a Locrian, but guess what? They don't happen that much, and if they happen, you'll know, right? So most of the 99% of the time, it's Aeolian or Dorian you have to choose. And then what you can do is just take a short look at the progression. So, because if you look at D Aeolian, it's this. While Dorian, it's only one note difference. Right, so instead of this B flat, right? The Dorian scale, the Dorian scale does a real B instead of a B flat. So if you look at the progression, yes, it's a B flat. It's a B flat, and that's a signal that's pushing you to choose for D Aeolian instead of D Dorian. So conclusion, use the D Aeolian scale over that outro. D Aeolian. Right, so use the D Aeolian scale, guys, to play whole that solo, the D minor pentatonic scale, but then this is called, of course, the 5th degree of D Dorian, right? Of D Aeolian, which is an A, and this is so well known in jazz and fusion in general. It's the 5th degree of any progression is as a function, and the function is only to take you back to the one. If you watch a blues progression, right? Right, that 5, 1. So that's the function of a 5 chord. It's building up some tension, wanting for you to resolve, go back to the one. So, and most of the time we choose for a dominant. We make it a dominant chord. Strictly, if you would go purely pentatonic, you watch the D Aeolian, you say like, oh, D Aeolian equals A Phrygian. That would mean I would play a minor chord on the A, but we won't. We deliberately push it to a dominant sound to even get more tension. Go back to the one. Right, so really important concepts, guys. Most of the guys you probably know this, but it's never hurt to repeat a bit. So, alright, so, but it's important to know that because I'm gonna really push, because the Phrygian is the diatonic chord that you would expect. We make it dominant. We introduce a non-scale tone. This is not in this note. It's a D flat or a C sharp. It's not in the Aeolian. So we need to watch out a bit, or else we could address that note, and I'm going to show you how in a moment. So first of all, I start out a solo. So not every note is tapped, guys, from the solo. The easiest parts are not tapped. I'm just walk you through it. So this one is just a lick with a pedal tone A. And really I'm following, you hear almost the progression going by. Then it's time for the 5, because at that time already the 5 is happening. It's a fast progression. These 5th chords, this A7 is constantly coming up, is constantly showing up, right? So, and I play. So this is your lick number 1, guys. Why do I do that, right? So an A7 chord. Remember this, guys, write this down, so important. In every dominant chord, there's a diminished 7th shape hidden. Diminished shapes are, you probably know those. You know probably those shapes, guys. 6-3, 5 on the second string, 6-3 on the G string. For all you guys, you've been working on some neoclassical stuff, or Yngwie Malmsteen, if you know that guitar player, is all about. Right, so we're using it in another context here, but it's the same. Really nice lick, no? Now I studied after my obsession with Greg Howe for 2010, 2016, somewhat, I studied 4 years jazz guitar, so of course these are also. But that doesn't matter because Greg also studied a lot of jazz, right? So just know that every time from now on you hit this chord, this A7, you know this is the new note. You have that shape. The cool thing about that shape, it repeats in minor third. And so on. And also really important, guys, I just give it as an extra information. Always when you have this shape, you can, on this note, this is a starting point for another shape that will repeat itself every minor third, which is this one. Of course, these are the same 4 notes. You hear that same dark sound. 5, 2, second string, 3rd fret on the G string. Right. And again, 5, 2 on the 4th string. So I can. Right, it's those kinds of things. They're hidden in every dominant chord shape, right? So, right, if I take another very familiar A7 chord shape, is this one, of course. It's with root out on the 5th string. Probably know that shape. What I see now. Away one of those 2 diminished shapes I was talking about. So you can do that exercise for yourself, but that is how I see the chord, and I know. And you can do so many beautiful lines with that, right? So like one is you can do. Really melodic things, and that's lick number 1. All right. Second thing, we're up in lick number 2 now, guys. This is strictly D Aeolian. Always when I have these things, I most of the time do. I never do, or sometimes, but more often I do. That side, right? And then again, there is the A7 again. So remember that again. That shape just copies itself every minor third, so. So I again use it. So the only thing here interesting to point out, notice that hammer on from nowhere. That makes it fluid, guys. You see that tap with that bow, that's a left hand tap or a hammer on from nowhere. That's integral part of Greg Howe style, and that makes him play so fluently. Then I go on. Watch the rhythm. That's all. That's all typical 60 notes. And then I'm introducing some anticipation, right? That's a cool thing, no? So this is notes 8, 8, 10. It's just the Aeolian notes. And then make this an exercise, guys. It's a middle finger pluck, down, a hammer on from nowhere. Greg always calls this like Greg calls this basketballs on the floor. He says all. You can do also rhythmic things like I'm doing right now, or just. Then we move on. Move on to that section. Now that lick here, that is something that is Greg doing the last years. I hear him do that, and I asked him one of my private lessons about that lick a little bit because I really like that. At least know it on two places, right? This is in the mode 5 or the box 5 of the minor pentatonic, this is in box 2. Right, so and after that, so that is lick number, that is already lick, so that's lick number 3 and 4 we just discussed. And then lick number 5 is your typical all-time Greg Howe lick, right? Right, so this is a very good hybrid picking exercise, guys. Then you repeat it. In this case, I'm doing it only once. So I'm moving through a few positions, watch out for those slides, where exactly they are. Finishing that off with a D minor arpeggio. This is the 4R shape of a D minor 7 arpeggio. And this thing. I like that, right? So I didn't used to like that root note bend here, right? But I really liked it when sliding up to this 18th fret from the 15th bend. It's a real cool thing. Also something that Greg's been doing the last years, and I like it. And then we get basically the last, lick number 8 then. Sorry guys, lick number 6, which is a fast shred line. So, as always, I hope you already, if you watched the superimposition lesson, you should know that it's always there. Hey guys, really study that arpeggio guide here. It's always the same, right? Arpeggios built from the 3rd and the 5th degree always work and always gives you the best results. That's my opinion. So if I'm in the Aeolian, the 3rd degree is beautiful. I'm not using it in this solo, but the 5th degree is of course this A. And if you watch the sheet, the PDF, you know it's a minor. It's a Phrygian degree, right? So I'm always seeing. As well in the Dorian or the Aeolian, the 5th degree is a minor 7. Right? And I always have that shape ready in minor context. So I'm starting with that. So classic this. We've seen that in the main course of the Introspection album. You've seen that in the, I think also in the Need to Know free lessons. It's always there, guys. Make sure you practice that until you drop that, right? I'm just kidding. Then I something that is so once I get here in that 8th position, there again is the A7. Now I'm thinking A altered scale, which is also an option. There are several options over the A7, right? The option we discussed was figuring out the diminished 7 shapes and building a line with that. This is it's using the altered scale. Now that would be hours of me talking about the other scale alone. So if you don't know it, it's time to study some more. But especially when it lies here. Yes, this shape. 11, 9, 8. Then 11, 10, 8. Then just 10, 8. Then again 11, 10, 8. What am I doing? And resolve it back. Something to practice, guys. Now for the last one, it's again. For the last one, I'm gonna take my time a little bit. So I'm seeing this is always the case with my camera. I need to figure that out. It always stops recording at about 24 minutes. It breaks it down. So be right back. I will bring it together in one video for you guys. Be right back then. Yes, so back again. So we were now at lick number 7, right? Lick number 7. So this is really interesting. This is also some new contemporary stuff. So right, let's keep it till there, right? So Greg is also doing really cool stuff with pentatonics, right? Already like that, right? It's just doesn't have that a great Greg House sound to it, guys. So that's the first start. That's really interesting, really important. This is a hammer on from nowhere and a string skip. Wow, right? So I'm not doing the other part of the lick yet. I'm just showing you this, right? You cannot get more Greg Howe than that, and you really guys should explore that idea a bit more in other places of the neck, right? So that's for you guys to further, but here it works really well at least, right? And then that chord is again coming up, and I'm letting that show in my line. What am I doing again here, guys? You recognize that sound? I'm all again using that diminished 7 arpeggio now. And then this time, the only thing is, yes, of course, typically you learn this as this small one here, but it's always the case, it's an arpeggio, so you need to learn a shape that is expanded across all string sets, and then almost your ear can find this, right? That's the pathway. 13, 16 on the 5th string, 14 on the D string. That shape you should know, right? 12, 15 on the G string, 14 on the B string, and 12, 15 on the G string. And of course, it repeats itself in these groups of minor thirds. And I worked a bit on this, guys. I designed that a bit, so that last note really lands well, and then I finish off with the bluesy ending. There you have it, yeah, guys. There you have that Jumpstart outros. As always, my lovely patrons here, they get to download the Tab Guitar Pro 8 files on Patreon within their membership. And if I just triggered you a little bit on working with arpeggio, go and watch this video where I'll teach the best arpeggio you can start using today over any minor chord. See you guys.